The desert of Velna had a way of bleaching the soul, drying every thought into dust until only instinct remained. For Jonas Hale, former sergeant of the Terran ground forces, instinct was the only thing that had kept him alive long after the war ended. He had survived plasma storms, shattered moons, orbital bombardments, and a lifetime of promises broken by the galaxy. But poverty, that was the enemy he never trained for. He walked alone through the windswept dunes with a half-empty canteen and a backpack held together with wire ties. His feet ached, his back screamed. His scarred arm twitched each time the heat shimmered like a distant artillery flash. VELNAR-9 had once been a frontline world where humans fought tooth and claw against the Zur Dominion, a reptilian species known for cruelty and hive-like obedience. But now, the war was over. Humanity had won. The Zur Empire had fallen, and the veterans, the ones who bled and burned for that victory, were left behind. Jonas sighed. He wasn't even sure why he still wandered old battlefields. Maybe he was running from something. Maybe he was searching for something. Or maybe he simply didn't know where else to go. He stopped to rest behind an abandoned mech husk sticking out of the sand like a dead titan's ribcage. That was when he heard it. Click, 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 click. The unmistakable tapping of Zur claws on stone. Jonas slowly turned. 3 Zur, soldiers, thin, exhausted, and barely standing, stared at him with hollow yellow eyes. Their once bright armor was cracked, their scales dull, their lips dry to the point of bleeding. They were starving, dehydrated, lost enemies, or at least enemies once upon a time. Jonas instinctively reached for his sidearm. His hand closed around empty air. He'd sold it weeks ago for food. The Zur leader, tall female with one horn, broken, took a weak step forward. "Human," she rasped in broken Terran. "Stay away. We do not wish conflict." Jonas blinked. That was Nuza, never asked. The second soldier collapsed to his knees. The third swayed like a dying tree. They were not here on patrol. They weren't hunting anyone. They were dying. Jonas tightened his grip on his canteen. It was barely enough for him. Sharing it would be stupid, dangerous, possibly fatal. The logical thing would be to run. But logic had never been humanity's strongest weapon. Compassion was. He walked forward, slowly, carefully, hands visible. The Zur flinched. One weakly lifted a claw. Jonas uncapped his canteen and held it out. "Here," he said softly. "Drink." The Zur leader's pupils widened in disbelief. "Why?" she whispered. "Would you help enemies?" Jonas shrugged. "War's over. You look thirsty." She stared at him for a long, trembling moment before taking the canteen in both clawed hands. She raised it to her lips and drank like a creature who had forgotten what water tasted like. The other soldiers watched every drop with desperate hunger. When she finished, she bowed her head. "H. Hale," she said, trying to pronounce the name stitched to his torn uniform plate. "You offer water to those who once killed your kin." Jonas smiled faintly. Humans are complicated like that. He offered the canteen to the others. They drank eagerly, their shaking easing. And then something unexpected happened. The Zur leader knelt, full kneeling forehead to the sand. "Sergeant Jonas Hale," she said, her voice raspy but firm, "you have performed the rite of life gift. By Zur custom, we owe you life debt." Jonas froze. He had no idea what that meant, but it sounded serious. "That wasn't my intention," he said. "Just trying to help." She lifted her head. "No, You do not understand. The life gift is sacred. When one gives water in the wasteland, they are bound to the receiver. And we," she motioned to her companions, "are now sworn to you." Jonas rubbed his temples. Great. Just what he needed. 3 reptilian warriors bonded to him. "Look," he started, "I'm just a broke veteran trying to survive. I don't need followers." The Zur looked at each other, then at him. The leader spoke softly. "We have nowhere to go. Our empire is shattered, our brood destroyed. If you reject us, we die alone." He sighed deeply. He couldn't walk away from that. "Fine," Jonas said. "Come with me, but don't expect much. I'm barely keeping myself alive." The Zur bowed again, this time with something like hope glowing in their tired eyes. Asterisk the fire that started a revolution over the next few days. Jonas learned their names: Reska, the leader; Voron, the quiet one; Kesh, the young and anxious one. Together they scavenged old battle sites for anything to sell. Jonas showed them how to find abandoned supply caches. They showed him how to navigate Zur ruins without triggering old traps. He expected them to be violent, ruthless, hardwired killers. Instead, they were surprisingly gentle, quiet, disciplined, lost. One night, around a fire made from crashed drone parts, Reska finally told him the truth. "We were not soldiers when the war ended. We were prisoners. Forced labor. When the Dominion fell, humans did not know what to do with us, so we fled. Been wandering since." Jonas stared into the flames. Humans had won the war, but no one thought about what to do with the remnants of the enemy. "So you've been starving for months?" he asked. Reska nodded. "We expected humans to kill us. Instead, you offered water." Jonas chuckled bitterly. "If humans were all bad, the galaxy would have burned by now." Reska studied him. "You are poor, scavenger, alone, yet your heart is rich." Jonas rolled his eyes. "Trust me, my bank account disagrees." The Zur didn't understand the joke, but they smiled anyway. Asterisk the turning point. The 7th day, everything changed. A Terran patrol craft spotted them. Dust kicked up as armored soldiers dismounted, rifles raised. "Step away from the Zur," the captain barked. Reska immediately moved in front of Jonas, claws out. The human soldiers were shocked, sir, defending a human. Jonas raised his hands. "Everyone calm down." The captain glared. "Sergeant Hale, these creatures are classified hostiles." "They're civilians," Jonas said firmly. "Starving ones. I gave them water." "You what?" Jonas straightened, meeting the captain's eyes without fear. "They're under my protection." The soldiers hesitated. The Zur watched the exchange with something like awe. Finally, the captain lowered his rifle. "Sergeant, do you understand what you've done? If this gets out, it could reshape post-war policy." Jonas shrugged. "Good, maybe it needs reshaping." The human who changed everything, the story spread. A poor human veteran sharing water with former enemies, protecting them, treating them like people. It ignited something powerful across the frontier worlds. Human veterans began questioning the treatment of Zur refugees. Zur survivors began seeking peaceful contact. Journalists descended on Velnanine. Scientists wanted to study Zur customs. Politicians scrambled to react. And standing at the center of the chaos, a dusty, broke sergeant who thought he was doing something small. Reska, Voron, and Kesh became the first Zur officially granted asylum. Their testimony to the Terran Council was simple. Humanity defeated us with strength. but won us over with kindness. When asked who showed them that kindness, they all answered in unison, Jonas Hale. Jonas was offered a position as mediator in the new Human-Zer reconciliation program. A real job, real pay, real purpose, he accepted. But one night, as he stood outside their new settlement, Reska approached him. "You gave us water," she said quietly, "but you also gave something greater." Jonas raised a brow. "What's that?" She placed her claw gently on his chest. "Hope." Epilogue. The ripple across the stars. Years later, historians would mark it as the turning point, the moment humanity showed the galaxy why it was feared and admired, not because humans were strong, but because even in the aftermath of war, a poor forgotten soldier offered water to his enemies and changed history.